Good evening, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been given by posting a notice on the door of the school administration offices, 200 Lees Avenue, on the 23rd of December, 2021. And notice has continued to be posted to date by delivering notice to the Retrospect and the Courier Post and filing of the notice with the clerk of the Borough of Collingswood on the 23rd of December. This is a special meeting of the Board of Education of the Borough of Collingswood in the County of Camden, and is called pursuant to 18A 10-3 to hold our annual reorganization meeting. I'm appointed as temporary chair to conduct the school elections for president. I will take roll call. Mr. Chu?
Here.
Mr. Craig?
Here.
Ms. Henry?
Here.
Ms. Mello?
Here.
Ms. Rivera?
Here.
Mrs. Savarino?
Here.
Mrs. Sheridan Celia? Here. Mr. Stotts? Here. Mrs. Caden?
Here.
Can everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll read the results of the election into the record. The following board members have been re-elected. Christine Sheridan Celia, 3,036 votes. Mrs. Regan Caden, 3,034 votes. And Mrs. Mary Savarino, 3,016 votes. Congratulations. Congratulations. If you guys will please stand, we'll do the oath of office, but we'll do it remotely. We'll just stand in place, and I already gave you guys your oaths. When you're done, if you could just sign them and get them to me. Try to shout into here. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for office of member of Board of Education, and that I am not disqualified as a voter nor disqualified due to conviction or crime, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all of the duties of that office to the best of my ability. Congratulations, ladies. I will now ask Dr. McDowell to read the school ethics and the code of ethics into the record.
Okay. So in accordance with New Jersey 18A 12 through 24.1, every board member will abide by the following code of ethics. The board member will uphold and enforce all laws, rules, and regulations of the State Board of Education and court orders pertaining to schools. Desired changes shall be brought only through legal and ethical procedures. Make decisions in terms of the educational welfare of children and seek to develop and maintain public schools that meet the individual needs of all children, regardless of their ability, race, creed, sex, or social standing. Confine his or her board action to policymaking, planning, and appraisal, and help to frame policies and plans only after the board has consulted those who will be affected by them. Carry out his or her responsibility not to administer the schools, but together with fellow board members ensure they are well run. Recognize that authority rests with the Board of Education and make no personal promises nor take any private action that may compromise the board. Refuse to surrender his or her independent judgment to special interests or partisan political groups, or to use schools for personal gain or for the gain of friends. Hold confidential all matters pertaining to the schools, which, if disclosed, would needlessly injure individuals or the schools. In all other matters, he/she will provide accurate information and in concert with fellow board members, interpret to the staff the aspirations of the community for its school. Vote to appoint the best qualified personnel available after consideration of the recommendation of the Chief Administrative Officer. Support and protect school personnel in proper performance of their duties, and refer all complaints to the Chief Administrative Officer and act on the complaints at public meetings only after failure of an administrative solution.
Thank you, Dr. McDowell. I'm now requesting nominations from board members for the office of President of the Collingswood Board of Education. Yes, Chris?
I'd like to nominate Reagan Caden for president.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Caden, do you accept nomination? I'll do a roll call vote for President of Collingswood Board of Education. Mr. Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Chu?
Yes.
Mr. Craig?
Yes.
Ms. Henry? Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Ms. Rivera?
Yes.
Mrs. Savarino?
Yes.
Mrs. Sheridan Celia? Mr. Stotts?
Yes.
And Mrs. Caden?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone. I just wanted to take a moment before we move on to, yay, thanks. Before we move on to the election of the vice president and a few other things we have to do tonight, to just acknowledge that there's a lot going on right now, that everybody here is, I'm sure, thinking much more about COVID and remote schooling and what's going to happen next than anything else. And I just wanted to kind of make it clear that this meeting is specifically for our board reorganization. It's planned as a special meeting, but that does not in any way mean that the district team and board members have not been thinking and working on solutions to these challenges that we have right now, and that more information will be made available as, you know, the numbers have come in and everything kind of got set up for today, to expect later on this week further communication about next steps, because they are working as hard as they can to get our kids back into the school buildings as soon as they possibly can. So with all of that being said, we're going to move to section 5, which is the election of our vice president. Do we have any nominations for vice president?
I'd like to nominate Mary Savarino.
Oh, now I have to do this instead of Beth Ann. Do we have a second? And Mary, do you accept? So roll call, please.
Mr. Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Chu?
Yes.
Mr. Craig?
Yes.
Ms. Henry?
Yes.
Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Ms. Rivera?
Yes.
Mrs. Savarino?
Yes.
Ms. Sheridan Celia? Mr. Stotts?
Yes.
And Mrs. Caden?
Yes. That moves us to section 6, which is our first opportunity for public comment. The purpose for this public comment section is to discuss items listed on the agenda. Additional, more general comments may be made later in the meeting. The public is reminded that attempts to resolve all concerns and complaints should first go through appropriate staff members and administrators. The intent of public comment is to give the community opportunity to provide feedback to the board. We will be actively listening and taking notes so that we can take all that is being said into consideration. If appropriate, clarifying communication will go out later in the week, and for more general concerns, they may be discussed by the board during future committee meetings. With that being said, if anyone has anything that they would like to say about items listed on the agenda, they can stand, state their name, and keep your comments to 5 minutes or less, please. Okay, moving on to section 7, our resolutions. We're just, 701 is our official meeting dates. You can see them all listed for the remainder of this school year and into next school year. So we need approval of item 7.01. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second? Roll call, please. I can't even see anyone behind me. It's very strange.
Before I do the roll call, I just want to bring everybody's attention to March 17th. It is a Thursday. The reason I added that special meeting to the list of board meetings is The budgets are due to the county office Monday, March 21st. So we're going to hold a special meeting so that way I can get it to the county office. The March 21st is a Monday, so that's why it's on there. So I know we're not used to meeting on Thursdays, but that's something a little different. Okay. Mr. Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Chu?
Yes.
Mr. Craig?
Yes.
Ms. Henry? Yes. Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Ms. Rivera?
Yes.
Mrs. Severino?
Yes.
Mrs. Sheridan Celia? Yes. Mr. Stotts?
Yes.
Mrs. Kaden?
Yes. Moving on to Section 8, for the committee appointments, I will do what I did last year, which is, this feels strange, but I'm talking to everyone behind me, which is send out an email this evening with a Google form so everyone can, it just was a much simpler and smoother way to do it, so that's what I will do again, so look for that this evening or early tomorrow morning. 8.02, however, is we need some state and local representation. So we need a legislative representative for the New Jersey School Boards Association that will represent the Board of Education at the state level. There's quarterly meetings on 3 Saturdays per year. Do I have a volunteer to be our legislative representative for this term?
Chris raised her hand, so
Yeah.
you'll...
And we
you'll
need
keep
an
it?
alternate as well.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Fiona. And then we also need representation at the Camden County School Boards Association at the local level. There are monthly dinner meetings. A lot of them at this point are, or all of them, I think, right, are over Zoom right now. So we need a representative. Does anyone volunteer to be that representative? Okay, and an alternate as well. Siri, are we putting you? All right. Okay. And then there's one more, Section 9, Special Board Appointments. This is to serve as a representative for the Camden County Educational Services Commission. Do we have someone who would like to?
I can do that again.
Okay, thanks. And we need an alternate as well. Thank you. All right, great, thanks, everyone. Section 10 is policies and bylaws. For 10.01 is the adoption of, move on the recommendation of the superintendent that the policies and bylaws of the district presently in existence be adopted and continue to review the policies as proposed. 10.02 is formal adoption of the job descriptions presently in existence, and so we are just looking for a motion to approve 10.01 and 10.02. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
That was Syria. And a second?
Second.
That was Roger.
Thank you.
Questions or comments from board members? Roll call, please.
Mr. Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Chu?
Yes.
Mr. Craig?
Yes.
Ms. Henry? Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Ms. Rivera?
Yes.
Mrs. Severino? Mrs. Sheridan Celia? Mr. Stotts?
Yes.
Mrs. Kaden?
Yes. And it looks like we have 2 items on the agenda for personnel. Ms. Sheridan Celia, do you mind going through that?
Sure. The Personnel Committee reviews all recommendations for teaching and staff employment, considers co-curricular employment, and considers all professional development opportunities for staff members. There are 2 items on the agenda today, and they both involve Lynn Marie Sanders. We're hiring as a high school Spanish teacher at 11:02, and also as a substitute and tutor at 11:03. And I'm seeking approval of items 11.02 through 11.03.
Do we have a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Thank you.
Questions or comments from board members? Roll call, please.
Mr. Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Chu?
Yes.
Mr. Craig?
Yes.
Ms. Henry? Ms. Mello? Ms. Rivera?
Yes.
Mrs. Severino? Mrs. Sheridan Celia? Mr. Stotts?
Yes.
Mrs. Kaden?
Yes. And section 12 is our second opportunity for public comment. This is the more General section, the public is reminded that attempts to resolve all concerns and complaints should first go through appropriate staff members and administrators. The intent, once again, of public comment is to give the community opportunity to provide feedback to the board. We're going to be actively listening and taking notes so that we can take everything that's being said into consideration, and if appropriate, clarifying communication will go out later in the week, or it will be discussed at further committee meetings. So if anyone would like to participate, stand, state your name and address, and please keep your comments to 5 minutes or less.
Good evening. My name is Joseph Rosato, 212 East Palmer Avenue, Collingswood. I'd like to address everyone here and everyone watching. I'm saddened that we only have about 11 people in here. What a crazy time we're living in, especially the last week or so. I would expect that there was much more than 11 people here. This place should be packed to the gourds right now, packed. Because if you care about your children coming back to school in person, if you truly care, then there should be people down the hallway trying to get in and a line behind me. But I guess we don't have that yet. Because that's the only way things are going to change, is if we start talking and getting more than 11 people here. So, some people most likely have gotten my comments here, my questions beforehand. So a lot of this may sound tongue-in-cheek, but it's not, because it's all about equity. Got to keep that in mind, equity. Show of hands. Who will be losing money from their employments due to children going virtual? One. Not VOA, no? 0. I didn't think so. How much community involvement was included in making the decision? Other than, no, 0, most likely. What other options were created for parents who want their children to attend school in person? Show of hands. Who feels wrestling and basketball practices and games will help stop the spread of COVID? Okay. I'm going with 0 for 4 on this one. When was the CDC and Homeland Security contacted relating to the fact that only Collingswood public school teachers are catching COVID and their peers from neighboring school districts are not? Very strange, very bizarre. And why did you decide that the children with IEPs, 504s, and the ELL population should suffer the most? Because they do suffer the most when we are virtual and all remote. They do suffer the most. So let me give you a little background on who I am. I've been teaching, I'm a full-time teacher. I've been teaching for 25 years. I currently teach at Palmyra School District. I have 2 master's degrees, 3 teacher certifications, teacher of English, reading specialist, ESL. I am the sole ESL teacher at Palmyra School District. It's me and about 50 others. I teach K to 12. So before you think that I'm some right-wing crazy lunatic, I'm giving you a background of who I am and who I advocate for. So right now, at this point, I'm advocating for those individuals who are losing money from their employments because they need to stay home. I'm advocating for our children, of course, because we know that the social and emotional trauma that our children are going through is in direct correlation to online learning, going virtual, not being in school. So I'm having a very, very difficult time understanding why Collingswood is going in this direction. Now, you guys can tell me, well, we have a staffing issue. And that's my point with my other questions. A staffing issue. Haddonfield doesn't have a staffing issue. Audubon doesn't have a staffing issue. So why isn't the CDC here, Homeland Security, there must be some crazy COVID thing going on just with Collingswood Public Schools. Has to be. Because right down the block, there's no problem. So either we're living in some sort of COVID bubble here where Collingswood teachers only get COVID, or this is done on purpose. And if this is done on purpose, then sure, it's not equitable, is it? Where's my equity? Where's mine? Where are the family's equity who's losing money because they need to stay home or hire babysitters? Where's their equity? This is all I get. Talk, 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 talk. Equity, 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 equity. It's equity for you,
Thank you, Mr. Rosado.
but it's not equity for everyone else. You would do me a favor. Walk the walk.
Thank you, sir.
Don't talk the talk. Don't put signs all over the place. Walk it
Thank
instead
you,
of
sir.
talking it.
Please pull your mask up and sit back down. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Would anyone else like to make public comment?
That's it? Just me? Come on, people. Just me? No one else out here? Come on. I've been living in Collingswood since 2004. I want to stay here forever.
Yeah, okay. Seeing that there's no one else, then let's get on with it.
Hi. John Heinzel, 21 Ardmore Terrace in Collingswood. The 27th of December was the date that the CDC gave new guidance relative to the quarantine time period after an exposure. The quarantine time was reduced to 5 days. I'm curious how that went into your considerations where 10 school days, which is what, 14 calendar days-ish, came into that consideration. Thank you.
I'm sorry, sir, can you spell your last name? I didn't hear it correctly. I just want to make sure.
Heinzel.
Yeah, I definitely got that wrong. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Is there a response? Sorry, I ceded my time to...
We don't do a back and forth, sir. Thank you, though.
Will there be a written response?
Yes.
Okay,
Any other public comments?
Hello, guys. It's Charles McFadden, 316 Harvard Avenue. In the beginning, I emailed you guys in the beginning of the year asking for safety data justifying the wearing of masks all day in school for our children. Some children wear them even longer than just kids. I have not received any data or studies saying that it's safe. I saw one study used in several articles saying masks are safe for children, but yet this study, it was a North Carolina study, it had no control group. I'm not saying masks are bad, I'm not saying masks are good. My question is, and still is, are they safe for our kids to be wearing every day? So I was selecting this information, making sure our children are safe. I'm following up with you again and asking you to show me the data and studies that prove it is safe for children to wear masks day after day, month after month. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, with that being said, before we adjourn, just wanted to reiterate again that communication will be going out later in the week about what to expect, what the next steps are after the district has taken its time to look at the numbers of staffing and figure out the best way to return kids to school as soon as possible. So please be on the lookout for that later in the week. We are moving on to section 13, which is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second.
Second, Syria.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
You guys can give me your oaths of office. I've got Regan, so I need yours and, oh, sorry. Yep, thank you. Huh? Oh. Oh, yes, okay, yep.